Zenless Zone Zero. July 3rd, 2024, Zenless Zone Zero was released to the public. From the beginning to now, people have been dropping the game like flies. I am going to go over my overall experience with ZZZ and why I think the game is overhated. We will go over the negatives I have, the positives I had. We will be interviewing some close buddies on what they think, and then we will discuss what I think about the community's current thoughts and the game in general. So be sure to stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like the video and subscribe for more gacha gaming content. Now let's get into it. Now, before we get into actually rating the game and talking shit about some aspects of the game, I'm going to share what my current progress is. So, I am currently level 27. I have completed chapter 2 of the main story, and I have unlocked most of, if not all of the game's core features. I have gotten one 5-star that has changed my account for the better. She's amazing, and just chucks hollow purples at the enemies. I'm not joking, that's what she does. Kyoshiki. I want to get Ellen, the limited character, but I am not there yet. So we will see what happens. I have 3-starred most of the story missions and have been playing the game on challenge mode the entire time. I will probably confront the hard difficulty for chapters 1 and 2 on a separate video, and will probably do the same thing for the other chapters. I am also free to play, have not spent a dime, and have not received any hacked currency from viewers or anything like that. The hacked currency things are already out. Again, not joking about that. If I had to guess, I would say that by the time this video goes out and actually gets its attention, I would have over 24 hours worth of playtime on this game. I will probably be a higher level, and I will most likely be trying to unlock the next part of the story. But yeah, this is my current progress. Now we're going to go over the positives and negatives about the game. Let's begin. The first thing I like to do when reviewing parts of gacha games, or just gacha games in general, is to go over what I found bad. So let's go over what negatives we have, because there's not really a lot of them. First of all, one of the things that pisses me off about gacha games in general is the fact that they set you off on your own and it takes a while to level up. In summary, I just don't really like these features in these games. It's what made me quit Genshin at first. The second thing I want to talk about are the story aspects. There are 2 things that made me upset. One of these things are the fact that some dialogue started repeating itself. There's a part in Act 1 where that's intentional, but the other times it happened didn't really, seem that way. Next, I really hate Soldier 11. She's boring, her kit is mid, and when I was doing the first part of her companion mission, I noticed that her voice was inconsistent for the first parts of the quest. This was the type of inconsistency you would get from Reverse 1999, and we all know how shit. The last issue I had with the game was the fact that the male MC is such a bad pick. When you choose your main character, I pray to God that you picked Belle, because even though Wise is a G and has a pretty decent personality, he's such an overall standard looking character design. Doesn't make it any better that we have to play him when Belle is absent or is unable to be played. Oh, and let me not forget about the 100GB download requirement. 100. Hoyoverse, why did you do this? I get that we don't want our other competition, but why did we have to make the initial download require 100GB of space? That's damn foul. If you enjoyed the video so far, please be sure to smash the like and subscribe button to stay tuned for when I upload more gacha gaming content. Anyways, let's continue. So let's go over the positives. First things first, the story. The way they tell their story and the story in general is pretty good. It's not the best story in gacha, but the way they use comic panels, the standard gacha format, and flashy cutscenes to tell the story just makes everything feel so good, even if the story isn't usually all that. The voice actors did an excellent job. The voice direction seems to have been pretty great so far. especially when some of the characters are speaking passionately about something. Plus, it's not the standard Amnesia MC bullshit. We got a unique concept for our main character. Now, I can say that this game does express rated T qualities. Months back, I discussed the age ratings of gacha games. I was super worried about how ZZZ was possibly gonna fail to show T-rated quality. I was super worried about how ZZZ was possibly gonna fail to show rated T qualities and go to the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse route like Genshin did. Not a problem, but like, not every game needs to be a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse type game. Anyways, my point is, they did not disappoint, for me at least. There's a good bit of swearing, the fan service is top tier, and some of the subjects seem to fit the rating as well. Other games have similar topics such as this, but I personally think that those topics are not to the degree of this game. And can I just say that the story mission called Early Bird Ticket to Safety is certified peak. This part of the story is the big turning point for Chapter 1, and the animations and overall design are just fantastic. Plus, the MC in this game actually has a soul 99% of the time and probably speaks the most out of any MC I've seen in any gacha game I've played. Now, this speech that I'm referring to isn't just like the basic gacha game's character to MC communication. No. The MC in this game actually has a ton of voice lines and personality, and they're very animated when speaking. Even when you're in a standard cutscene where the characters are talking, Belle and Wise both have a balanced amount of voice lines. Plus, the humor between the MC and other characters is pretty decent as well. She makes a gambling joke in the gambling game as well. They know their audience. Next thing we need to discuss is the combat. Holy God, where do I begin? I don't care if people find it easy, hard, if they think it's boring, I don't care. Wuthering Waves, in this game for me at least, compete for the best combat I've ever seen in gacha gaming. It's really simple, plus the counters are super satisfying to perform. Here is a clip of me hitting a bunch of parries. Please keep in mind that I was doing this with audio delay and when I just started the game, like the day of release for the game. Anyways, they introduce each bit of combat to you little by little, but I like that. Not overloading you with too much info so you can adapt to the current situation presented to you. That is nice. The victory screens are so fucking cool. I absolutely love hitting an ultimate and then getting the wipeout screen. And speaking of ultimates, the ultimate animations are top tier. The fluidity and the effects are just baller, well, besides Grace.
Oh, this little one is so cute!
We don't talk about Grace. Challenge mode. I've been playing every mission that allows it on challenge mode. I've been having a great time with it. Not the hardest in the world, but I bet it's making some difference. The combat may be easy, but I bet there'll be more challenging stuff in the future. Or when I go further into the game, because keep in mind, I'm not completely done with the game yet. So then, how about we talk about the overworld? The NPCs are all super unique. They have the same level of animation as most other characters, and that to me is amazing. The fact that they were even willing to give that much effort to the NPCs is crazy. Side quests and all that such were kinda boring, but they ended pretty quick, and that's enough to satisfy me. Let's get into some more quality of life stuff now. First of all, the actual starting screen when you first boot up the game is amazing. Like, check this out. Amazing. Plus, you can click on the TV on the screen in the main menu to flip the channels. Let's not forget how the menu looks too. Very nice, and everything is where it needs to be. The character screens where you check your stats and adjust your character's builds, they're absolutely perfect. They're so interactive, plus you can make the cat dance. And speaking of characters, apparently if you use the signature weapon for certain characters, they change in combat. which is super cool and super smart for them to get people to spend money. Like a certain ball man said, ZZZ has to have the best soundtracks in the current gacha market. Like, they're so fucking good. I can't get over it, which is why I'm literally using some of the soundtrack for this video. The awards are pretty good. They're not the best, but you eventually get what you want. They seem to be getting better as you play the game too. Hey, look at that, guys. You play the game and the game thanks you for playing. Who would have fucking thought? The gacha itself is probably the coolest gacha I've seen. Next to Wuwa, of course, because they have a pretty good gacha as well. But ahead by a small bit, personally. 80% of the gacha itself is completely animated. Even when you get the standard drops like the blue engines and whatnot, it's still animated. And plus, the music for the gacha is just butter to the ears. Give this a listen. Peak. Absolute peak. The copy system has a pretty unique concept to it. Basically, you get pieces of a comic each copy of a character you get, and once you get max copies, that character's comic becomes a complete comic. Really nice. And one last quality of life is the energy system. Look, it's annoying. I hate that there's so much grinding you can do a day in these games, but at least we start off with 240 energy from launch. Like, no update over time. We start with a base of 240 energy. That's pretty cool. Love it. Plus, I'm pretty sure some overworld shops give some energy as well. Now, here are some of my more important things that I liked. First of all, from what I've heard, TV Land was boring as shit. And sometimes, honestly, a game needs some filler to get you excited for what's to come. But people from the CBT said there was too much of it. And that could be a problem. But let me get straight to the point. I think TV Land is super overhated. Not overrated, you heard me correctly. Overhated. Let me explain. You see, TV Land can be boring at some times, but I like getting everything. So when the time comes that I have to think harder, the feeling of completion is very satisfying. Plus for me, I find it fun regardless. I don't really mind it all that much. However, I do agree that for some people, too much of something can be too much. And even I might get burnt out on it, but for the time being, I'm pretty chill with it. Since we're on the topic of things involving commissions, since TV Land is in some commissions, I feel like I should talk about the commission system in general. First of all, commissions are easy as shit. They're not hard at all. But the thing that balances it out is the challenge mode feature, and the fact that there's a hard mode that you can challenge eventually. I think I like that, since like they said in the livestream, we tried to make it so both newer and more experienced people in this field can have a decent time. So if it's not hard now, they're probably making sure you're able to prepare for what's to come. And hopefully it's not just an HP increase. Let's not forget that you eventually unlock a mode called Rally, where you just fight things and solve minor puzzles, with a big bad boss at the end. Probably my favorite commissions next to the story commissions. But I think it's about time we get into the most unique section of this video. I am going to interview my friends on what they think about the game. I am interviewing two of them. I will list their experience with gacha games and what they think about ZZZ. Let's get into it. The format we will use for these questions is simple. Current progress on ZZZ, which is the level and place and story and stuff like that. Next is experience with gacha games in general, like how many gacha games they've played, how much they like these gacha games in comparison to others, and more. And their overall thoughts on ZZZ, like their opinions and whatnot, and their closing statements and final thoughts. The first person I interviewed is someone I share lots of my gacha game experience with. Their name is Morbikummer. and for some reason they asked me to put a Keemstar scream. Anyways, here's how this interview went. Pause to read if you want. For their progress, they're almost done the Chapter 2 story and have reached Internaut level 26. Their experience in terms of gacha games is with gacha games like Genshin, Nikke, HSR, Limbus, Blue Archive, Wuthering Waves, and of course ZZZ. They gave ZZZ an overall 9 out of 10, though it has flaws. Now that we know their background, let's read off a bit of what they think. The combat, while fun, is too easy, even on challenge mode, and may hurt the longevity of the game. I think making tweaks such as making enemies stop standing around and doing nothing sometimes, making stunts harder to pull off and making some less for a short amount of time, and making less attacks parryable will help with this. This is one of the main issues with the game that I agree with. They should definitely make this game more challenging to keep players hooked. Anyways, the story is alright, but I think it could be much better if the writers get some more funding. Each chapter has an extremely slow start. The world building and characters aren't given enough time to fully flesh out and feel alive. Also, sometimes I felt that the music doesn't match the topics at hand. For example, Kaleda and Grace's argument in Chapter 2. This is something else I agree with. The game has its ups in the story, but not enough ups to make it fully engaging. They did good for HSR and pretty alright for Genshin and Fontaine, so I really do believe that they can do it if they tried. Next they say, aside from event rewards, Polychrome is kind of hard to come by, which is like the Astrite or the Stellar Jades or the Primogems in this game. Anyways, aside from event rewards, Polychrome is kind of hard to come by. I think the devs should try and pay attention to how many rewards they are giving in the future. The weapon banner should not be 75-25, it should be 100%. No guarantee on the banner makes people far less likely to pull. I know that this is a ZZZ video, but Wuthering Waves and ZZZ have been competing for a bit now. And one of the things that Kuro did do better than Hoyoverse was that they made the weapon banner guaranteed for Wuwa, which is just better than any 75-25 or any 50-50. Going forward, the TV sections need to be slightly more dynamic. There are too many instances where the player is locked in dialogue or has to watch something happen that completely halts their momentum. TV Land is way more hated than it should be. It really is, but they really do need to crack down on making it more engaging. Because it's not bad, but at some points it's just like, why did you do this? But yeah. Anyways, there should be an optimization patch that shortens file verification at the startup screen. It takes far too long.
Yes.
Closing. Great game that has major potential as long as the devs act on it. The character designs, combat, world layout, and the unique way it tells the story all lend to it being my top 3 gacha game so far. P.S. If you genuinely cannot sit through the story or TV sections of the game, you need to go to the doctor for your crippling attention span deficiency. And that there is the end of their message. I'd say that everything they said was very fair and true, if I'm being honest. Anyways, now we move on to our buddy Lumi. He decided to go to the voice message route, so we'll just listen to my voice speak and give our thoughts at the end. Let's begin.
I'm level 6 and I've not really gotten too far into the game yet. My go-to at the moment is Ambi, Billy Kid, and Sokaku. There's not much else I can say because I'm not too far in, and I don't usually play for long bursts. My main experience with gacha games is Limbus Company, a gacha game by Project Moon set in their universe. I've played other gacha games like Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact, but I never got too far because they never really kept my interest for too long. I like Limbus in comparison to others because I've enjoyed their other game library of Runa, and I really like the story they have going for in Limbus. I love Zenless Zone Zero. The art direction is phenomenal, and I love the OST as well. There's a lot of passion and effort put into Zenless, and it's going to be something I play for a long time going forward. The art style and the satisfaction of landing cool combos and swapping out just at the right time to land a parry will never not give me crazy amounts of dopamine. Overall, Zenless Zone Zero has a lot of effort put into its design, and I hope it stays that way. I love every single small detail, and I love what they're doing. My answers are a bit lackluster because, like I said at the start, I haven't really gone too far into the game yet. I'm only at the start, but I do really like the game as it stands right now. The game's generally really fun to play and caught my interest months ago when the game was in closed beta. I will end this off by saying Ambi is the best character. I take no objections.
Ambi is the best. Huh. Interesting. Kidding. But seriously, even though he hasn't gone far into the game yet, he has had the best take out of most people online. He said words like "so far" and "as it stands," and I'm glad he said that, because lots of the idiots online have had an inability to say shit like that when making their takes. Anyways, now that we've done our interviews, I'm going to give my full and honest overall thoughts on the game. So let's get into it. We've talked about positives. We've talked about negatives. We've explored the minds of different people and their perspectives on the game. Now we're giving a final review as of now. Zenless Zone Zero for me, including all the flaws and good things about the game, gets an 8.5 out of 10. The combat is fun, the game has a good premise, but I put it at this rating because I'm really into the game right now, but it feels like this game is going to have me less engaged later on, but not to the point where I want to quit, unlike some people. I think that playing a game like this is okay, especially if it's a gacha game. If you are juggling several gacha games, you have several options and lots of things to occupy you. You shouldn't limit yourself to just one game when many others can entertain you too. Eventually, I'm gonna relax on playing this game every second of the day, and that's fine because once there's an update, I'm gonna be playing it more. And finally, the game's flaws are so easily fixable. As long as Hoyoverse goes the HSR route and they really listen to what the community wants, I feel like this game will be better than people are saying it is right now. But even with its flaws, you've got to understand, people quit at hour 2 after getting like Intronaut level 10. Yeah, of course nothing's happened, you haven't even made that far into the game yet. How can you possibly be making critiques as if you played the entire game? Meanwhile, you're still at the beginning getting introduced to the cunning hares. Get a grip and grow a pair. Such weak attention, rotten idiots. Again, you cannot like a game, don't get me wrong. But if you haven't gotten far, or if the game just released and nobody is super far into the game, your argument isn't really valid because no one really completed the game yet. How can you speak about the whole game when you haven't even played the whole game? God. But yeah, that's about it. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like the video and subscribe for more gacha gaming content. We're trying to reach 500 subscribers by the end of the summer, so be sure to subscribe to make that possible. Comment down below your thoughts and what you want to see next, and be sure to check out my community tab for updates and polls on upcoming videos. Be sure to also check out my Twitter. I shitpost and reply to my favorite creators and some dumbasses, so be sure to check it out as well. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next one. Enjoy CCC, bye bye!